The state of Texas cracks down on big tech censorship, all as NBC News' Lester Holt admits their leftist bias. In this video, we're going to take a look at the state of Texas's legislation that's banning social media sites from banning conservative opinion, how Lester Holt is openly admitting the left-wing bias of mainstream media news, and why scholars are revealing that the days of the media hiding their left-wing bias are finally coming to an end. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you. As always, we're here to give you each and every single day conservative hope in the midst of these turbulent and trying times, helping you to think better so you can feel better and provide for you a patriot path to freedom. So if you haven't done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, for you podcast fans, we've now reached over 2 million podcast downloads, so make sure to click on the link below and sign up for our various podcast platforms. And for you alt tech fans, we've got links to our Rumble and Parler channels down below. We'd love for you to subscribe to them as well. Before we begin, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video. They've been with us for so long. They're so wonderful. It's our good friends over at Noble Gold. Silver and gold, gang. When times are tumultuous and turbulent, you can't beat them. And there's frankly never been a better time to start a gold or silver IRA in your portfolio, and the amazing staff over at Noble Gold are ready to help you in any way that they can. And if that's not incentive enough, Noble Gold is gifting a genuine rare Carson City minted Morgan silver dollar with every qualifying IRA or 401k. It's absolutely beautiful, so don't wait. Click on that link below or visit their website at noblegoldinvestments.com. Give them a call, 877-646-5347. Make sure to mention my name, Dr. Steve Turley, and let's ride that gold and silver wave together. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Red states are rising up to challenge and push back against the leftist big tech oligarchs and their obsession with cancel culture and online censorship. The Hill is reporting that the Texas Senate has passed a bill Thursday blocking social media platforms from banning residents based on their political views. Senate Bill 12 is requiring social media companies to be transparent about how they moderate their content on their websites. They'll have to give frequent updates on what content is removed, and it will create an appeals process when a user's content has been removed. The bill also gives Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton the right to sue a social media company when the appeals process has determined that free speech rights were violated. Ken Paxton is already heavily involved in pushing back against big tech. We've talked about in other videos how Paxton's recently filed an antitrust lawsuit against Google for colluding with Facebook in an illegal deal to manipulate auctions for online advertising. And in the process, Paxton has issued civil investigative demands to 5 leading tech companies: Twitter, Amazon Web Services, Apple, Facebook, and Google, to inquire as to their specific policies and practices on content moderation, especially in light of what happened to the deplatforming of Parler. Republican Texas Senator Brian Hughes, the Senate bill's sponsor, said in a video posted on Twitter that the bill will, quote, get Texans back online. Quote, I think we all have to acknowledge that social media companies are the new town square. A small group of people in San Francisco can't dictate free speech for the rest of us. It needs to be an open exchange of ideas, and Senate Bill 12 is going to get Texans back online. Now, Texas' move to ban social media outlets from banning others based on their political views comes on the heels, of course, of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' commitment to bringing an end once and for all to conservative censorship in social media. DeSantis has recently declared that stopping big media bias from censoring conservative speech while pushing far-left ideals is on the top of his list of legislative issues. DeSantis is promising that Florida will indeed be taking action on the issues they work to provide protection to their citizens from online censorship. In fact, Florida State Representative Randy Fine has called on the DeSantis administration to, quote, order the immediate divestment of any Florida-held equity and debt in Alphabet, that's Google's parent company, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Twitter. Fine said he also will file legislation during the upcoming legislative session, quote, to forbid any state or local government from conducting any business with these companies effective July 1st of this year. That means, quote, No Facebook, Twitter, or Google advertising by Florida governments. No use of any Amazon services by any Florida government. No purchases of Apple or Android devices by any government agency. And this state representative is being joined by several others who are demanding that the state of Florida divest immediately from what they consider to be big tech tyrants censoring fellow conservatives. So there is definitely some very real pushback going on here among red states, no question. We reported a couple of weeks back on North Dakota, where the state legislature there is considering a bill that will prohibit social media companies from censoring messages and posts. And in addition, the legislation would allow citizens to sue Facebook and Twitter for censoring their free speech. And we noted, too, that an internet provider in northern Idaho has announced that they're going to block Facebook and Twitter from their Wi-Fi service for some customers due to claims of censorship. So clearly we're seeing the rise of sanctuary states that are creating administrative and legal walls to protect their citizens from the censorship and political persecution coming from left-wing oligarchs. And boy, oh boy, is that effort at protecting conservative and patriotic speech more important now than ever. You probably heard about the absurd comments coming from NBC's nightly news anchor Lester Holt, who's about as far left an anchor as you can get. He was accepting an award at a media symposium a few days back when he made the rather shocking admission that, quote, "It's become clear that fairness is overrated," saying that the idea that we should always give two sides equal weight and merit does not reflect the world we find ourselves in. Now, if you don't know, Holt basically argued that the Trump side of America does not need to be listened to because the facts in any case that they would dispute are so patently obvious. According to Holt, we all know that the sun sets in the west. That's a simple fact. And there's no point in listening to 75 million Americans who want to try to dispute something like that. Giving them equal time to spew out their absurd view of the world is overrated. And it's no longer realistic in the radically partisan world in which we live, where clearly one side is concerned about truth while the other side is delusional. But of course, herein lies the problem for Lester Holt. What Holt doesn't get here is that while the pursuit of truth is, of course, of the utmost importance, tens of millions of Americans simply do not trust the mainstream media to decide what is and what is not true. That's the inconvenient truth that Holt so conveniently ignored in his acceptance speech. For tens of millions of Americans, the corporatist, globalist media simply cannot be trusted to decide what is and what is not true. And for good reason. If you listen to any establishment media outlet over the last few days, you would think that the state of Georgia is engaged in some sort of massive voter suppression effort akin to reinstating Jim Crow. If you listen to the establishment media over the last 4 years, you would actually believe that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia to steal the 2016 election. If you listen to Chris Wallace over the last few months, you would be led to believe that Marxist critical race theory implemented in government corporate workshops is just innocent racial sensitivity training. You see, scholars of media studies have long recognized that the issue is not so much whether facts exist or whether things exist in the external world or even to what extent they can be seen as independent of our modes of apprehending them. Media scholars have long recognized that the issue is one of articulation. The issue is one of constructing accounts of these things, and whether Lester Holt recognizes it or not, the inconvenient truth here is that however unbiased he purports his reporting to be, the articulation of experience in words and images always remains a construction. That's why the choice between calling Georgia's new law an attempt at election integrity versus voter suppression contains fundamentally different constructs of reality. Just like the choice between the descriptive words rioters versus insurrectionists, or militants versus freedom fighters, right? Or illegal immigrants versus undocumented workers. These are not neutral terms. They have completely different associated meanings with them. This is why the media is supposed to present both sides of an issue, so as to provide the viewers the various perspectives that always interpret any particular news event. But with Holt and others admitting that they have no time for nationalist, populist, patriotic perspectives, they've made it absolutely clear that the mainstream media is nothing more than the virtual reality of left-wing globalist elites, which makes the legislation against social media oligarchs coming from red states all the more timely and all the more important. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. Definitely click on the link below, check out some of our awesome merch. And you definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on how Marjorie Taylor Greene absolutely demolishes Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's claim that the crisis at our southern border is racist. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.